sick and tired of hearing people use age as an excuse in the SMMA space. And I'm going to tell you why age doesn't actually matter to your success as an SMA owner. So for those who don't know who I am Uncle Jimmy, and I've been doing this for a long time. I've been in the SMA space now for several years with my digital marketing agency called My Online Guy. I'm a coach over at Easy Grow, which is Charlie Morgan's course, which I'd highly suggest you check it out. I've also created a Google Ads course if that's something you're interested in. There'll be a link in the comment. And I do consulting if you want to level up your agency. But today I want to talk about why you being young or old or everywhere in between doesn't matter if you play to your strengths. And what I mean by that is literally just got off a coaching call over at Charlie Morgan's course. And one of the people there was talking about how they're young and they think that affects their ability to be able to sell and deliver SMMA. And I was there to tell them that it's your mindset that is affecting your ability to sell, not your age. And you really should be playing to your strengths. There's so many people out there that just don't play to their strengths. They are running at SMMA and they go, well, I see Jimmy successful. I see Charlie successful. I see Iman Ghazi successful. I need to be them. You are not Uncle Jimmy. I'm called Uncle Jimmy for a reason because I am old and you are not old. If you are 17, 18 running an SMMA agency, it does you no favors to pretend that you're older than you actually are. What you should be doing is playing to your actual strengths. So if I was, let's swap role, for instance. Let's say you're Uncle Jimmy and you're giving me advice and I was a 17, 18-year-old. I think at 17 and 18, my play and my strategy would actually be playing on that as a strength. You got to remember that there's a lot of old guys out there that run successful businesses and women, obviously, a lot of older people out there that run successful businesses that want to impart and share knowledge. So one of your strengths being young is that you're generally people will be willing to share their experiences and knowledge with you. So play that as a strength. Don't go into these sales calls and service delivery calls thinking that you know everything. If you're 17 and 18, you don't have as much life experience as someone in their 60s, and it comes off as abrasive. So I would be going into these calls and going, oh, hi, it's Jimmy here. Look, I know I'm young, and I'm new to the space, but I'm willing to learn. Tell me a little bit more about your business and what you do at the moment. Oh, that's amazing. I've really, really admire you, and I work with a lot of clients in the plumbing space. But tell me a little bit more. How did you get to where you are today? I'd be making the call less about what I can do for them and more about getting them to talk about their business, to build trust and build that relationship. Because if you play your angle and you play your strength, it doesn't matter if it's you're young, old, or Indian, or whatever. If you just play to your strengths, you create a defensive moat around yourself that's very difficult for someone with experience like myself to take out. So, for instance, let's say if you've done that angle and you've said that you're young and you want to learn from this person, that person actually takes a shine and an affinity to you. Then, when they actually go to hire you, they're going to be advocating for you and they're going to give you some leeway that maybe you wouldn't have gotten if you were pretending to be someone you're not. So let's say that same conversation, you go in as a 17-year-old and you go, oh, look, I've been doing this for years and I know your space and industry. And immediately they're going to go, wait, okay, this kid says that he can do all this. Let's hold him to task and see if he can actually really do it. Whereas if you go into that same conversation, you go, look, I'm young, I'm hungry, and one of my advantages is I have infinite energy and I really want to make this work, but I'm still new to the space. I want to really succeed. Then you can play to that strength and you'll have someone advocating for you. So I've got a question here. Getting that first client to convince prospect to work with me. Yeah, that's a great question. And then again, young, old, doesn't necessarily matter. I think one of the secrets of getting that first person to work with you is, again, playing to your strengths. If you don't have experience, don't go into the call pretending you have experience. So when I first started, I got my first client, I didn't pretend like I knew SMMA. I basically went in there and said, look, you are going to talk to people that have way more experience than I do. But one thing that I have that these other guys don't have is that I want to make this succeed. And I'm going to do everything I possibly can to make this succeed for you. Because you got to remember that a lot of business owners, yes, obviously the offer and what you do for them makes a difference, but that's not the main reason a lot of them are working with you. You got to remember that some of these people are just working with you because they want someone that puts in as much effort as they do. So that's what I would be playing on Balaji if I didn't have the experience and it was my first client, I would be playing on that strength and going like, look, you are my first client, but that gives me more reason to make this succeed. And no one is going to outwork me. And I'm going to do everything I possibly can to get us the success we really need. So that's the angle I would be playing on. And it's not only just age, because I talk to a lot of young men, especially young bloods, that want to get into this space and they're worried about the fact that they're young and people aren't going to respect them. Well, obviously, playing to your strengths is one part of that, but the other part of that you really need to learn and to do is you need to learn to communicate at different levels, not necessarily from like a physiological level or whatever, but learn to communicate at the same cadence and the way that the person you're speaking to speaks. So what I mean by that is I'm 37 and I'm not 17 years old. So if you come to me and talk about, call me bro and all that kind of stuff, and the 17, 20-year-old vernacular that I didn't grow up with, and you start doing that, I have preconceived ideas and notions of how a young person speaks. So if you come to me and say bro and things like that in our conversation, I'm immediately going to pen you into that young person, as a young person, and going to look at you that way, right? So if I look at you that way and I have preconceived ideas of how young people operate, whether it's as a business owner or have young people and they're lazy or what have you, then you're going to be pinned into that if you communicate that way. Whereas if you look at the person you're talking to and go, how is it to me, and try and mirror that communication back to them, you'll get amazing outcomes. Because if they speak like an adult and then you speak like an adult back to them, then they're going to treat you as an adult. It doesn't matter if you're 10 years old, 17 years old, or 40 years old. It's just, you have to realize that people communicate their own way. And if you don't mirror that communication and speak to them at the same level, then your outcomes are going to be significantly worse than if you were to take the time, energy, and effort to go, okay, well, this guy is speaking a certain way. He doesn't say bro. He doesn't say whatever. Maybe I won't say bro back to him. If he's speaking slow and he's speaking methodically and really thinking about what he says, if I do that back to him, he's going to have a certain perception of me that would be different if I was just speaking really quickly because I'm young and I'm excited to get started. So that's another way you can move away from the age being an issue for you. And it goes in reverse. Like if you're a 50-year-old guy who started doing SMA, or a 50-year-old woman that started doing SMA, and you speak to these people as if they are 50 years old, and you're speaking to some 20-year-old guy who's just gotten into the space, they're going to go, okay, well, this doesn't connect with me. I'm not going to work with him. So the age and the age argument and the age rod for your own back that people use to say that's why they don't get clients is just an excuse. It's just an excuse for you not to put in the work to actually learn to communicate properly with these people and play to your strengths. So for me, one of my strengths is the fact that I have 2 kids. That is something that is hard to replicate without physically having children. So one of the things I do when I talk to clients is I ask them if they have kids, and if they do have kids, we talk about their kids, because it creates that rapport, creates that connection, and it creates a physical barrier of entry to my competitors. Because if you come in and you don't have kids, they're going to stick with me because we have a relationship, and that's what builds relationships. So guys, I'm going to end this video here. This is a new format. I'm trying to remove the friction of creating videos by just hitting the live button and going live. So it's not as stylized, not as formatted as well as other videos I have. But the idea is not necessarily the polish, it's the information contained within. And I want you guys to succeed in this MMA. And the best way to succeed is by understanding this stuff, removing friction, removing the excuses, and just getting on with the job. And that's what I'm here to teach you guys how to do, because I've been very successful in this space and I want you to be as well. So if you're using the age as a reason that you don't get clients, then get over yourself, put in the work, and actually unpack why that could possibly be, and start playing your strengths instead of trying to be someone you're not.